Hey, how's it going guys? Welcome back for another card review. So in this video, we're going to talk about the brand new Hunter collaboration with TOS. Right, so this collaboration has bring us pretty new mechanics to the game. Right, so first and foremost, before we go into the card itself, I want to talk about this Nen Power. Right, because this is one of the more special features for this Hunter x Hunter collaboration. Right, so I'm going to go through the Nen Power before we actually touch on the card. Right, so let's go. Right, so to simplify everything, right, so certain Hunter x Hunter cards have Nen Power, right, so upon reaching Amelioration 4. Right, so in this series, they are provided with Amelioration, right, straight off once you draw them. Right, so certain cards, when reaching Amelioration 4, will unlock this Nen Power function. Right, so I'm going to go through this function right here. Right, so there are, I think, 3 types of Nen Power, right, in the game. I'm not sure if there is more, but so far there is only 3 being revealed to us. Right, and then different cards have different types of Nen Power. Right, so we can see one example here is Gon. Right, so Gon here, which is the character you are seeing right now. Right, so Gon have the power Nen Power Ko. Right, so how are we gonna use this Nen Power is basically using the power of Dragonic Craft. Right, so before or at the beginning of a turn, right, if you want to activate the Nen Power, you have to tap the Dragonic Compulsion Craft, and it's going to consume certain percentage of the craft to activate this Nen Power. Right, so the Nen Power can be activated if you set specific cards as leader. Right, so by tapping the Dragonic Compulsion before Dragonic Craft before your turn starts, you're going to activate his Nen Power. Right, so let's talk about Nen Power Ko right here. Right, so one card right here, Gon, is going to have Nen Power Ko. Right, so by tapping the craft, you can see here consumes 80% of the Dragonic Compulsion craft. Right, so that's pretty huge amount, right? That's almost the whole craft. Right, so what does it do? By tapping it for 1 round, leader attack times 1.5. Right, so leader only, not the entire team. Damage received becomes 0. Right, so this is some sort of like damage reduction kind of Nen Power. So this actually applies to specific percent of summoner HP. Right, so you can actually dodge 100% HP reduction or total annihilation kind of boss skill. Right, so this is actually pretty useful. Right, so in some sort of situation, you actually have to do it maybe some initial shield or 100% HP reduction in which you can't take it down in 1 turn. You can activate this Nen Power and it's gonna nullify the enemy's damage. Right, so condition is to have Gon, right, the pre-transformation or the post-transformation at Amelioration 4 as leader. Right, so let's take a look at other Nen Powers. Right, so the next Nen Power we're gonna take a look is at Gyo. Right, so Gyo here is gonna be applicable to Killua, right, which is the character that you are seeing right here. Right, so Killua here is gonna have Nen Power Gyo, and what does it do is to reveal invisible enemies. Right, so by tapping the craft before the turn starts, you're gonna reveal invisible enemy. Right, so this counters the invisibility shield in the game right now. Right, so it's not as powerful as the Ko Nen Power as we saw for Gon. Right, so therefore it only consumes 30% of the craft. Right, so condition is having Killua Amelioration 4, right, pre-transformation or post-transformation as leader. Right, so in this video we're going to talk about these 2 characters, Gon as well as Killua, right, because they too come in a pair, something like Ieyasu and Ye Xiaochai, right, from the Pili Puppet series. Right, so let's take a look at Gon and then followed by Killua. Right, so we have a very basic photo of Gon right here. Right, so Hunter x Hunter has brought back the transformation playstyle, right, from the Revolutionary Heroes. Yeah, so I pretty like that series, right. It actually transformed the card into a whole new it kind of transformed into a brand new card, right, and then having different skills and whatsoever. Right, so Gon here, you can see we have a very basic skill right here, CD8, and he'll be able to transform into his so-called like adult form. I haven't really watched the anime yet, so I'm not quite sure what's his this whole power up. Right, so basically what is similar to what we have in the Revolutionary Hero, right, which is like Floris, Rococo and stuff like that. Right, upon reaching CD8, you can transform into another form and at the same time turn all runestones into enchanted. Right, so this actually bypassed the Quintet Enchanted Shield. Quintet Enchanted Shield. So I'm actually pretty happy with this skill already. Right, so with that we're gonna move on to the transform version. Alright, so what you can see here is the limitation transformation gone, which is his post-transformation artwork. Right, so this is the leader skill, so you can see it's very long. So we're gonna take a look at I'm not talking about his hair, by the way. I'm talking about his leader skill. Right, so leader skill, when the team consists of only human attack times 4.5, that's a very decent multiplier right there. Right, on top of that, damage received minus 30%. Right, so I'm very satisfied with this card. Right, I would call it very OP as well. Right, so by dissolving runestones of the monster's attribute in its column, the monster attack times 2 additionally, no superimposing, and only the first batch of runestones dissolved will be counted. Right, so this playstyle here is very similar to the Primal Greed, right? Specifically mentioning these Feints as well as Gaia kind of playstyle here. Right, so let's continue. Where are we at now? Right, by dissolving enchanted runestones, team attack times 1.8 additionally. Right, so some of you guys might be thinking, oh, then we have to constantly like do a full attack to kind of form enchanted runes, right? But that's not the case, right? So let's move on to his active skill. Okay, so what you can see here is the active skill for Gon. Right, so Revolutionary Hero upon transformation make use of the EP system, right? So this is the same as the Hunter x Hunter cards here, right, which makes use of EP. Right, so the only difference is that Revolutionary Hero cap maximum EP is at 10, and then Hunter x Hunter cards are capped at EP 12. Right, so this gives us like you can actually activate the small version of Gon's active skill twice. Right, so let's take a look at EP 6 for Gon. Right, so for one round, one of the following effects will be triggered when summoner starts moving runestones from one specific position. Right, so scissors, paper, stone. I believe these 3 icons is gonna appear at random places, or maybe one of the 3 corners of the board. Right, so by moving where the icon begins, right, you're gonna trigger different effects. Right, so moving from scissors, you get team attack and recovery times 1.6, which is very minimal, right, in terms of the effect that we're getting right here. Right, stone, monster attack times 7, attack regardless of defense. Right, so this is one of the more powerful active skill for EP6. Right, paper, deal 30 times earth damage to all enemies before attack. Right, so this kinds of remove the invisibility shield. Right, so also kind of useful and situational kind of active skill. Right, so let's take a look at the main part of this video. Right, so Jajangken Rock, right, EP10, explode all non-earth runestones. Right, so this part here is basically like Shu's active skill. Right, on top of that, turn all runestones into enchanted runestones. So this part here actually fulfills the leader skill, right, in which you get that extra 1.8 times team attack boost. So we are not done yet. For one round, the monster attack times 30, right? This is so far the highest multiplier in TOS, right? And then it attacks regardless of defense as well, right? So it's a very powerful skill, right? I can't wait to test this out in the game. So the downside is that no attack could be launched by other members, right? So it's very similar to Ed, the Necrophilia active skill, right? So let's move on. Team recovery times 1.6. This is an additional bonus, right? And then of course deal 30 times earth damage to all enemies before attack. So basically what you're doing here for EP10 is all the effects that you get from EP6. Right, so other than sniping all enemies before attack, monster enters a dying state at the end of the round. Right, the state lasts for 2 rounds. So basically what you do is a gigantic huge burst, right? Monster attack times 30, and then after that this monster cannot attack for the next 2 turns. Right, very similar to what Hyper Beam works, how Hyper Beam works in Pokemon. Right, you do one massive attack and then you have to rest for the next, 2 turns. Right, in my opinion, I think this is fair enough, right? Because times 30 is a very massive amount of damage. Right, we're not even talking about boosters yet. Right, so Gon is playing with a human setup. Right, so I can't imagine the amount of damage, right, if you want to throw in the 3 Enchantress into, you know, the Gon playstyle. Right, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, the next card I want to talk about is Killua. Right, so in this video, I'm going to focus mainly on these 2 cards because, as I mentioned earlier, they too are meant to be played as leader and ally. Right, so Killua here, same as Gon, is going to transform at CD8. Right, so for Gon, upon transformation, enchants the entire board. For Killua, upon transformation, right, you can actually dodge the first attack of the first attacking enemy. Right, so this can be used at a very specific timing, right? For example, if you have a initial, as I mentioned earlier, initial shield kind of monster with a skull, maybe, right? Or a high damage dealing enemy, right? You might want to transform before that, right? So as to dodge the first attack of the enemy. Right, so very good active skill here, right? It's not really his full active skill, right? This is just like his transformation. So let's move on to his transform form. Right, so Godspeed Killua. Let's take a look at his leader skill. Right, so when team consisting of only humans, right, so which is why I say it's the same thing as Gon, right, we'll talk about their team skill later. Right, so only humans, human attack times 5, HP times 1.3. Right, so remembering that Gon just now, right, human attack times 4.5, and then we have times 5 here, so this is a very massive attack multiplier, right? In fact, I think it's one of the highest in the game, right, once this seal is released. And so on top of that, for each attribute of runestones dissolve, turn 3 random runestones of that attribute into enchanted runestones at the end of the round. So this basically fulfills the enchanted runestones dissolve for Gon's leader skill, right? So basically you can hit maximum multiplier every turn because of this passive convert, right? So only the first batch of runestones dissolve will be counted. So basically if you dissolve all 5 colors, you have all 5 colors enchanted on the board every turn. Alright, so let's take a look at Killua's active skill. Alright, so what do we have here? Right, so upon transformation, we have 2 active skill once again with EP3 and EP8 respectively. Right, so EP3 converts 4 runestones into dark enchanted runes, hard runes in priority. Right, so it's gonna convert away hard runes, right? But that's not gonna, some of you guys might have concern like, oh, then we can't really heal, right? Or is this team's recovery gonna be pretty crappy because you kind of prioritize hard runes as conversion, right? So not to worry, we'll take a look at that later. Right, so on top of that, for 1 round, the monster launches 2 extra light attacks. So this is kind of a small little active skill, right? I don't think we'll be using this very often, right? So let's take a look at the EP8. EP8 Speed of Lightning, turn all runestones to enchanted runestones. So this is basically another full board enchanted. Right, so we have Gon full board enchant, we have Killua full board enchant as well. Right, so if you were to play Gon and Killua as a member in their respective attribute, right, these 2 cards are gonna be the one enchanting the whole board, similar to Aloha, right? So you can bypass the quintet enchanted shield, right, from whatever stage in the future. So arrange enchanted dark runes from left to right, top to bottom. This one is a bit confusing, right? Not sure what is it about. Let's wait for Madhead to release a demo video on their channel, and then we can go check it out. Right, so on top of that, combo count plus 5 for 1 round. So this can actually bypass maybe like above 8 combos or above 9 combo shield very easily. Right, so overall I feel that Gon Killua playstyle is going to be very prominent in the meta, right, because of their multiplier and their versatility and utility all in their active skill and leader skills. Right, so very OP, right? I will call this OP because it is really strong. Right, I think the only thing that they can they will not be able to do, they will not be able to counter is overheal shield. Alright, other than that, you can see that Gon active skill actually have a board clear, so weathered runes, electrifying runes are gone. We have literally all the possible active skill, right, to kind of dodge whatever that is in our way. Right, so before we end this video, let's take a look at Gon and Killua's team skill. Right, so what you see here is somehow very repetitive, right? 1 and 2 is basically the same, 3 and 4 is basically the same, right? So we're gonna do a bit of a skip right here. Right, so team skill 1, leader is gone, and then Killua as member. Right, so or vice versa, right? You can see that we have an extended rune movement time by 1 second, and then dark runes possess 50% effects of other runestones, and then you can see that Killua here, gone, and Killua respectively, right? Dark and earth runes possess 50% of other attributive runestones. Right, so this is gonna be very useful in putting you know, rainbow color humans, right? Because Gon and Killua is playing human playstyle. So if you want to play maybe like fire human, you might wonder like, is the damage fall off gonna be very bad? No, right? So dark runes and earth runes are gonna possess effect of other attributes, right? So this is gonna balance out the damage overall in the team. Right, so team skill 3 and 4, you can see that by dissolving earth and dark runes, turn the bottom rows into 3 earth and 3 dark. Right, sounds very familiar, right? Because it is inherited by from Izanagi's leader skill. Right, so it's a bit of a hybrid gameplay here. Right, so this is pretty much gonna be auto generation of runes. So we can constantly attack, but note that stalling CD is gonna be pretty hard for this one. Right, so team skill 5, let's take a look here. Right, so earth and dark runes possess 25% effect of hard runes, right, which is what I mentioned earlier just now for Killua's EP3 active skill. Right, converting hard runes away into enchanted dark is not going to matter, right, because dark runes possess 20% effect of hard runes, right? So in terms of recovery, it's not going to be that bad, right? So fret not. So team skill 6 is going to be the super special one as well, right? So if you are using Killua as leader, right, and maybe Gon as ally, the team will not be poisoned, right? So remember all those 70% poison, 90% poison kind of enemy, right? So poison will not affect the team at all, right? So basically here is the super MVP of certain stages, right? So team will not be poisoned. This is basically inherited from the anime, right? So Killua has been trained with some sort of poison training, so he's not gonna be damaged by poison, right? So they actually incorporated that into the game, which is pretty interesting, right? So overall, my view for this Killua and Gon, right, super OP cards, right? So if you guys are drawing for this Hunter x Hunter seal, right, definitely draw Killua and Gon, because this is gonna be in the meta for a very long time, right? So at least I would say at least 5 patches and above kind of meta, right? So highly recommend you guys to get Gon as well as Killua, right? So overall, this is gonna be card review for these 2 cards, right? So if you guys are looking for Kurapika's card review, it's gonna be in another video, right? If not, it's gonna be a super long video. So for now, that's all for this video. Leave a like if you enjoy it, right? And I'll see you guys in the next one.